And at this stage, every Thursday morning, we look at the best of the business and management book titles around at the moment. And as ever, we have the guys from BookBuzz in studio with us. Ron Immink, co-founder and chief executive of BookBuzz, is with me. Ron, very good morning. Good to see you. As
Ian.
always, really like the title of this book, The Chaos Imperative, How Chance and Disruption Increase Innovation, Effectiveness and Success, by Ori Brafman and Judah Pollock. Chaos is in every organisation.
Chaos
and it can
is
be good
for you, Ian. Chaos is good for you. Innovation is a hot topic. We have a lot of clients who are struggling figuring out how innovation works, how to organize it, what is it, how it impacts on culture. And we're actually asked by a client to review this book, and this client is a huge fan of another book he wrote, which is called Starfish and the Spider, which is a classic. It's probably one of the best books on organizational development. Would you prefer to be a spider or a starfish, Ian?
I don't like spiders. We had tarantulas in here yesterday on the Tom Dunn show, and I was running a mile from them. So
the problem with spiders is if you cut it in half, it dies. The great thing about starfish is if you cut it in half, you get two. And what he describes in Starfish and the Spider is the Napster model to organizational development, which is, and he takes the example of the Apaches, which the American Army found very, very difficult to beat because they were organized like self-organizing organisms within small teams. Basically, he's the first guy who introduced the Al-Qaeda approach to business. And the Army picked that up eventually. And they went, you know what, maybe the way we work as an army is not the right way.
So this guy's a good management organization guru.
Yeah. So he was asked by the army to look at the way they were organizing things. And this is a book where he looks on how to introduce chaos into an organization. And the argument is that disruption is good for you. And he starts with the story about the European Renaissance, which was caused by a rat. And he would argue that the Black Plague was a good thing for Europe because it killed off the priest. So that forced the church to recruit a different type of priest. So the dogmas were removed, and that started the Renaissance. And that's the starting point of the book. And there's three guiding principles. Chaos is good. White space. So you need some time to reflect on things. And he talks then about neuroscience. Do you think your brain is more active when you're focusing on a task or when you're just hanging in a hammock doing nothing?
Probably when you're lazing about doing nothing.
Good man, Ian. That's the right answer. And that's his point. So you need to take some time out to just freewheel. The second principle is that you need the unusual suspects and the mavericks in your organizations. And the third principle is don't get in the way of serendipity. Now, the problem with the book is that that's the book.
Three little
principles, and then he uses the same examples that we have heard before. Einstein never went to university. He was he was just in a patent office looking at patents. He uses the example of Steve Jobs. And he uses the example of Silicon Valley, because Silicon Valley is white space, unusual suspects, and lots of serendipity.
Yeah, everything there seems like something you would have heard in lots of other management book titles out there.
Yeah, so then the question is this a good book or a bad book? And the problem with innovation, that it is so full of advice, rules, different ways of approaching it, that maybe three guiding principles actually make a lot of sense.
So maybe just have three little principles on a Post-it note rather than a full book.
Yeah, but then how do you apply it? And because how many books have we reviewed on innovation? 20, 30 of them. So I looked through some of the suggestions, and probably the 20% rule is probably the best one. So you need to allow your staff to play for 20% of your time, which is the Google principle, the 3M principle. Go right. Well, okay.
We're giving this one a thumbs down, but generally he should be. He's a good author.
As a platform book, it's a nice one. If you want a really good book on innovation, read Business Model Innovation Factory.
Okay, and on that note, Ron and Mink, we'll leave it there. You are giving a kind of a thumbs down to The Chaos Imperative, How Chance and Disruption Increase Innovation, Effectiveness and Success by Ori Braffman and Judah